Hello and welcome everyone. As we all know, money needs no introduction. Everything we do is directly or indirectly linked to money. The same holds good when it comes to travel and tourism. Tourism is one of the biggest industries worldwide after agriculture. It is also one of the main drivers of foreign exchange. In this lesson, we will learn about currency, foreign currencies, converting one form of money into other, and some other concepts related to money. We will cover it under the following heads, namely history of foreign money, concept and relevance of foreign exchange in tourism, different forms of currency, currency regulations in India, major players in foreign exchange for travel in India. Money, as we all understand, is the medium of exchange that is universally accepted in exchange for products and services. We understand money as either banknotes, coins, and lately as plastic cards, credit or debit cards.
History of foreign money. In its classical sense, money is the basis for trading. Since the Bronze Age, precious metals like gold, silver, and other metals have been used as money. Thus, the value of money was pegged directly to the value of the gold or silver. This practice carried on till the early 1900s in a manner where every banknote and other form of currency was deemed to be fully convertible and recoverable to its equivalent value in gold. This came to be known as gold standard. But this concept was abandoned, as there are not nearly enough gold reserves to cover the value of every banknote ever issued. Thus, we now have the concept of fiat money. This means that the central bank of every country issues banknotes on the promise that it is redeemable and is unlawful not to accept it as medium of trade. Every country has its own currency, its value being dependent on a host of different conditions. The most important factor that determines the value of the currency is the supply and demand on the foreign currency market and the amount of foreign reserves that the country has. Concept and relevance of Forex in tourism. The concept of foreign exchange reserve is very important to keep in mind as we go into this chapter. Simply speaking, the total amount of foreign currency or money available with a country is called the foreign exchange reserve. This reserve is used as a measure of wealth of the nation to determine its credit rating, etc. The largest volume of foreign currency traded across the world is US dollars. So, what contributes to the foreign exchange reserves? Well, foreign exchange reserves is dependent on the total volume of imports and exports of the country. Goods bought from another country must be paid for in the currency of the country that it is bought in. Possession of this foreign currency is therefore a measure of the country's buying power. The balance of payments and the foreign exchange reserves are maintained by balancing imports and exports. When a country imports more than its exports, then the country's foreign exchange gets rapidly depleted. How is tourism related to all of this? In a nutshell, tourism is an export. Take for example India. When a foreign tourist visits India, he or she exchanges some amount of US dollars or whichever currency into Indian rupees and spends those rupees in India. He may take away some souvenirs, but the majority of his spending is for services including airfares, hotel rooms, sightseeing, taxis, etc. Though no physical goods have left the Indian shores, it still counts as an export, as these services have been utilized after conversion from a foreign currency. Yes, such is the power of tourism that, if it is properly channeled, it can single-handedly help build up the economy. Many countries in the world, like Mauritius, Singapore, and Maldives, etc., attribute majority of their foreign exchange earnings to tourism. Different forms of currency. Now that we have established the importance of money and tourism, let us take a look at its different forms. Cash. Cash is the most convenient form of currency. As a banknote, it is easily recognizable and universally acceptable for all transactions in the host country. Thus, the most commonly used form of currency by travelers is cash. Currency exchange is a service that is available at all major tourist destinations and, very importantly, at all international airports. The rates of exchange fluctuate daily, and the currency exchange adds a service charge for every transaction. The rate of exchange can vary from agency to agency, so it is advisable to inquire in a few places to avail of the best rate. Commonly, the exchange rates at airports are comparatively higher as there is no competition. So, it is common practice that travelers often exchange a small amount, enough to cover their taxi and hotel fares. Foreign currency in cash can be bought at the home country beforehand. Cash is the most convenient way to carry foreign currency. But sometimes, carrying large amounts of cash in a foreign country can be quite dangerous. If cash is lost or stolen, the entire burden of the loss is placed on the tourist. Tourists are also easy targets for robberies as they would be carrying sufficient amounts of money. This danger was perceived in the late 1800s, paving way to the idea called traveler's check. A traveler's check is an instrument of currency that is intended as a replacement to cash. Traveler's checks come with pre-printed denominations and a serial number which will be linked to the buyer's name. This was a widely used form of currency since 1874 when Thomas Cook started issuing these. The most useful feature of traveler's checks was the fact that it was linked to the buyer's details. In the case that it was lost or stolen, the buyer merely notifies the issuer about the loss and the amount is refunded to him or her. Traveler's checks are sold by banks and financial specialists to customers for use at a later time. Upon obtaining custody of a purchased supply of traveler's checks, the purchaser should immediately write his or her signature once upon each check, usually on the check's upper portion. The purchaser will also have received a receipt and some other documentation that should be kept in a safe place other than where he or she carries the checks. Traveler's checks can usually be replaced if lost or stolen if the owner still has the receipt issued with the purchase of the checks, showing the serial numbers allocated. When wanting to cash a traveler's check while making a purchase, the purchaser should verify the details in the presence of the payee and countersign the check in the indicated space, usually on the check's lower portion. Traveler's checks are available in several currencies such as US dollars, Canadian dollars, pound sterling, Japanese yen, Chinese yuan, and euro. Denominations usually being 20, 50 or 100 into 100 for yen, of whatever currency. They are usually sold in pads of 5 or 10 checks. For example, 5 into euro 20 for euro 100. Traveler's checks do not expire, so unused checks can be kept by the purchaser to spend at any time in the future. For almost 100 years, traveler's checks have served as an ideal replacement to carrying cash. But the advancement in technology has resulted in it slowly losing popularity. The technology that has almost made the traveler's check redundant is the plastic money, better known as the International Credit Card. International Credit Cards. Credit cards have been around for a long time now and are popularly replacing actual money for most purchases. It is safe, handy, and is gaining a worldwide acceptance. With the concept of core banking and in the age of high-speed network connectivity, using a credit or debit card is becoming easier to use for most of the transactions. The runaway advantage of using a credit or debit card abroad is that you will immediately eliminate the money changer and the service charge that these agencies charge you. Credit and debit cards charge the interbank rates that are prevailing and therefore will be substantially cheaper than the rates that a normal money changing service would provide. Similarly, you could walk into any ATM and use your card to draw local currency as cash. This is much more convenient and is a lot cheaper than any currency exchange bureau. The leading credit card service providers in the world are Visa and MasterCard. Along with Maestro and Cirrus, they provide a worldwide network of outlets and merchants where your credit card can be used. All leading establishments nowadays accept electronic forms of payments. This service is so popular that many airlines and hotel chains offer discounts to those customers who sign up for some selected credit card services. The leading among these are the American Express travel cards. The perks of having these cards include complimentary tickets and hotel stays in a year. In recent times, the use of credit cards has made all other forms of foreign currency exchange almost obsolete. However, cash in its physical form can never be replaced, and travelers must still carry some amount of cash with them for immediate needs. This is especially true for tourists landing in remote destinations or where the network of ATMs and core banks are not yet completely reliable. The Government of India sets the rules and regulations for import and export of foreign currency from India. Let us take a closer look at these rules. Currency regulations in India. The rules for import and export of currency are defined under the baggage rules at immigration counters at all Indian international airports. They are: export of Indian currency is strictly prohibited. However, Indian residents, when they go abroad, are allowed to take with them Indian currency not exceeding Rs 7,500. Tourists, while leaving India, are allowed to take with them foreign currency not exceeding an amount brought in by them at the time of their arrival in India. As no declaration is required to be made for bringing in foreign exchange or currency not exceeding equivalent of US 10,000. Generally, tourists can take out of India with them at the time of their departure, not exceeding the above amount. However, all the passengers shall ensure to file correct declaration of their baggage. Green Channel passengers must deposit the customs portion of the disembarkation card to the custom official at the gate before leaving the terminal. Declaration of foreign exchange or currency has to be made before the customs officers in the following cases. A. Where the value of foreign currency notes exceed US 5,000 or equivalent. B. Where the aggregate value of foreign exchange, including currency, exceeds US 10,000 or equivalent. Currency import regulations. Importing foreign currencies is unlimited. However, amounts exceeding US 5,000 or equivalent in cash or US 10,000 or equivalent in traveler's checks must be declared. There is a ceiling on local currency, Indian rupee INR, of INR 7,500 for residents of India. For residents arriving from Bhutan and Nepal, there is no limit in amount of INR, but denominations no bigger than INR 100 may be carried. Currency export regulations. An authorized person may send out of India foreign currency up to the amount imported and declared. Residents of India, except when departing to Bhutan and Nepal, can export local currency, Indian rupee INR of INR 7,500. For residents departing to Bhutan and Nepal, no limit in amount of INR, but denominations no bigger than INR 100 may be carried. Foreign currencies, including currency notes, travelers' checks, drafts, etc., can be re-exchanged only through banks and authorized money exchange points. Instructions for passengers. The prescribed format of the currency declaration forms have the following rules printed on them. 1. This form need not be completed in cases where the aggregate value of the foreign exchange brought in by the passenger in the form of currency notes, banknotes, or traveler's checks does not exceed US dollars 10,000 or its equivalent, and or the value of foreign currency notes does not exceed US dollars 5,000 or its equivalent. 2. Passengers are advised to produce this form to a bank authorized to deal in foreign exchange or money changer at the time of conversion of foreign exchange into Indian rupees or reconversion of rupees into foreign exchange. 3. Visitors to India may please note that in case they do not wish to encash all the foreign exchange declared above, they should retain this form with them for production to the customs at the time of their departure from India to enable them to take with them the unutilized balance. 4. Details of travelers' checks, currency notes need not be furnished. 5. Foreign tourists need not indicate their address. Major players in Forex for travel in India. Thomas Cook. Thomas Cook India Limited is the largest integrated travel and travel-related financial services company in the country, offering a broad spectrum of services that include foreign exchange, corporate travel, leisure travel, and insurance. The company launched its Indian operations in 1881 and is celebrating its 131 years of world-class service in India. TCIL presently operates in over 78 cities across over 206 locations, including 25 airport counters. The company has overseas operations in Sri Lanka, which is a branch of TCIL, and Mauritius, which is a subsidiary of Thomas Cook India. TCIL is supported by a strong partner network of 117 Gold Circle partners and 166 preferred sales agents in over 100 cities pan-India. The company employs over 2,827 resources and is listed on both the Bombay Stock Exchange as well as the National Stock Exchange. Thomas Cook India is the largest non-banking authorized dealer in India, providing an array of foreign exchange products and services to various customer segments in India, Sri Lanka, and Mauritius. It has the largest network of branches with 144 locations across 53 cities in India, including 28 airport counters in major cities, working 24/7 into 365 days. It also has a vast presence in Mauritius with 12 locations, including International Airport, and also in Sri Lanka at 3 major locations. It has been awarded the Best Foreign Exchange Company by CNBC Awards for the year 2008 and 2009. Thomas Cook deals in 26 major destination currencies of the world. A customer generally prefers to buy cash in the destination currency as he gets benefited in the exchange conversion rates. Thomas Cook is also the largest bulk note consolidator, which helps in bulk operations. They have the privilege of importing the currency required for requirements in bulk. For example, Hajj operations, on specific occasions which differentiate Thomas Cook from others. Thomas Cook is the largest importer of currency notes. They are the members of Visa and SWIFT. They have tie-ups with almost all the private and public sector banks across India for the purchase of the currency notes and travelers' checks. They also have tie-ups with many foreign banks and hotels across India for currency notes pickup. Money changers and travel agents trust Thomas Cook for remitting their foreign currency to their suppliers abroad. Thomas Cook is one of the largest sellers of Amex travelers' checks. Travelers' checks are available in US dollars, Great Britain pounds, euro, Australian dollars, Canadian dollars, Japanese yen. Thomas Cook offices in India are also a part of the refund network of Amex TC, which enables quick payout of refunds to travelers in case of loss or theft. Cox and Kings. By 1878, C&K were agents for most British regiments posted overseas, including the Royal Cavalry, Artillery and Infantry, as well as the Royal Wagon Train and the Household Brigade. The Royal Navy was next, and in 1912, the Royal Air Force came under its wings. Between 1750s and 1950s, Cox and Kings was witness to an exciting era in Indian history and, in its own way, helped to shape it. In 1947, the British administration departed, but bound by strong ties with India, Cox and Kings stayed on and flourished. Today, Cox and Kings is a premium brand in all travel-related services in the Indian subcontinent, employing over 800 trained professionals. Their India operation is headquartered in Mumbai and has the status of a limited company. It has over 12 fully owned offices in India across key cities such as New Delhi, Chennai, Bangalore, Kolkata, Ahmedabad, Kochi, Hyderabad, Pune, Goa, Nagpur and Jaipur. Cox and Kings has a full-fledged money-changing division in its offices, servicing the needs of the corporate traveler and the leisure travel clients. A strong distributor of American Express travelers' checks, it has been awarded top performer for several years. Reliance Money with Kuoni Group. Reliance Money, a part of the Reliance Anil Dhirubhai Ambani Group, is a comprehensive financial services and solution provider, providing customers with access to equity, portfolio management services, equity and commodity derivatives, wealth management services, mutual funds, IPOs, life and general insurance, and gold coins. Customers can also avail loans, credit card, money transfer, and money changing services. It is the largest broking house in India with over 3 million customers and a wide network of over 10,000 outlets and 20,000 touch points in 5,000 plus locations. Reliance Money endeavors to change the way investors transact in financial markets and avails financial services. The average daily volume on the stock exchanges is Rs 3,000 crores, representing approximately 4% of the total stock exchange volume. Reliance Capital is one of India's leading and fastest growing private sector financial services company and ranks among the top 3 private sector financial services and banking groups in terms of net worth. The Kuoni Group, established in 1906 in Switzerland, is today one of the world's leading leisure travel corporations, with an annual turnover of CHF 4.9 billion and a global presence. In 2008, Kuoni won the world's leading tour operator award at the World Travel Awards for the 11th year in a row. Kuoni India, a 100% subsidiary of the Kuoni Group, is India's largest travel company, with an annual turnover of INR 2,300 crores, 3,200 travel professionals, and over 300 sales points. It is India's number one outbound and domestic tour operator under its Kuoni and SOTC brands, and India's number two business travel operator under the HRG SITA brand. Its subsidiary, VFS Global, is a global leader in the consular services business, and Kuoni is also present in the travel education space under the Kuoni Academy brand. It has garnered innumerable awards over the years and most recently was awarded the PATWA Award for Best Travel Company in India at the ITB Berlin in March 2009. Close on the heels of a Ministry of Tourism citation received in February 2009 for outstanding contribution to the growth of tourism in India.
Dear students, you must now be in a position to truly appreciate the magnitude of foreign exchange operations in India. Tourism has such a big economic impact when it comes to influencing the foreign exchange reserves. India is rich in natural resources, but is unfortunately lacking in oil and natural gas. We must rely majorly on imports of this precious commodity to drive our expanding economy. This puts a huge strain on our foreign exchange reserves, and tourism is one of the most effortless ways in which we can establish a balance in our reserves. With better understanding, the economic impacts of tourism can be used to our advantage in the coming years, and it will help us on our way as we strive to become a superpower. Thank you.